is a bust. He can't play quarterback. Jackson's a project. He's not even close.
In terms of you being the best quarterback in football, that answer is hell no, he is not.
I was not impressed with the way he passed the ball last year.
I'm going to prove him wrong. I'm going to show him a lie.
How did you go from the 5th quarterback drafted, dismissed by the entire league, to a 2-time MVP who transformed the quarterback position forever? This is the story of Lamar Jackson, the quarterback nobody wanted. But before Lamar ever proved the doubters wrong, his life was flipped upside down. At only 8 years old, he lost his dad and grandma on the same day. Desperately looking for an escape, Lamar discovered football. At only 8 years old, he could already throw a football 20 yards. And by high school, it became clear football was his way out. After watching hours of film each week, Lamar became one of the best read option quarterbacks in the nation. See, this wasn't your typical quarterback. It wasn't just his arm strength, he was also the fastest player on the field. So fast, he could run the 100-meter dash in under 11.5 seconds, a school record. With his dual threat ability, Lamar averaged a whopping 50 points per game. But after graduating high school, Lamar was left with a major decision. He could either stay at quarterback or become a wide receiver. With his speed, many colleges saw him as a receiver. But Lamar's mom was adamant. Her son was a quarterback. She made Louisville promise to use him strictly as a quarterback. But Lamar ran into an immediate problem once he arrived. He couldn't even read a playbook. See, bro was so dominant throughout high school, he never needed one. But in college, Lamar not only had to learn the playbook, he had to beat out 2 other quarterbacks for the starting job. Against all odds, Lamar won the starting job as a true freshman. And this hard work paid off. As a freshman, he threw for over 1,800 yards and ran for another 960. Fast forward a year later, and this time he shocked the entire country. In his first game of the season, he set a university record, 8 first-half touchdowns, all of which occurred in the first half. Then, against second-ranked Florida State, he scored 5 touchdowns in a 43-point blowout. Suddenly, he became the Heisman frontrunner, and Louisville found themselves ranked 3rd in the nation. But when the season ended, the unthinkable happened. Lamar nearly doubled all of his freshman stats, throwing for over 3,500 yards and rushing for 1,600 yards, along with 51 touchdowns. That's when this happened. At only 19 years, he became the youngest ever Heisman Trophy winner. Lamar was on cloud 9, but he was about to make history once more. In 2017, he set new college bests in completion percentage, rushing yards, and passing yards. For the second straight season, he was a Heisman finalist, with a chance to become the second ever back-to-back Heisman winner. But ultimately, he fell short, and that's when he knew it was time to declare for the 2018 NFL Draft. Based on his college career alone, he would have been a lock to go top 5. However, once again, Lamar Jackson was left with a major dilemma. See, many scouts believed he was better suited as a receiver, and when Lamar pulled up to the NFL Combine, he was in disbelief. Only one team showed interest, the Chargers. But it turns out they were only interested for one reason. They wanted to see him run routes. But the Chargers were far from his only skeptics. When asked about Lamar, former GM Penn Polian said this:
superior elite athlete. Whether he will ever be a good enough passer to be a winning NFL quarterback, a lot of work to do there.
Yet, he wasn't about to let the noise get to him. Lamar refused to run the 40-yard dash and even hired his mom as his agent. That's when his mom gave teams an ultimatum. Either draft him as a quarterback or don't draft him at all. On top of this, he had to take the Wonderlic test. Every year, all the top quarterback prospects take a test meant to evaluate their football IQ. This was Lamar's chance to prove he belonged. Instead, he recorded one of the worst scores ever, an embarrassing 13 out of 50. But even with all the hate, one team believed in him, the Baltimore Ravens. They saw potential in Lamar and believed he could become the next Michael Vick. There was just one problem. They didn't want other teams to know. So the Ravens brought him in for a private, informal interview, and Lamar assumed the interest was mutual. But once draft night came, everything changed.
In the 2018 NFL Draft,
my man watched his demise as quarterbacks started coming off the board. First, it was Baker Mayfield.
The Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield.
then Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and finally Josh Rosen with the 10th pick. Before long, 4 quarterbacks were off the board, and Lamar Jackson wasn't one of them. Hours had passed, and it was now the 25th pick. The Ravens were on the clock. Finally, the wait was coming to an end, or so he thought. Instead, the Ravens drafted tight end Hayden Hurst, the ultimate slap in the face. But then came the 32nd overall pick, and this time, the Ravens made his dreams a reality. Eager to prove the whole world wrong, Lamar got to work, and in Week 11, he got his first opportunity to shine. With starting quarterback Joe Flacco injured, he got his first start against the Bengals. And in his first game, he rushed for a franchise record 117 yards en route to a victory. But Lamar wasn't finished. He won 6 of his first 7 starts and seemed poised for a run at the Super Bowl. Even better, he had a chance to shut up his biggest hater in the playoffs, the Chargers. The same team who only saw him as a receiver was now begging for mercy. But instead of getting revenge, the opposite happened. Lamar crumbled under the spotlight, completing less than half of his passes, throwing an interception, and fumbling 3 times. Fans wondered if it was time to hand the offense back to former Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco. Instead, the Ravens went all in, letting Flacco go elsewhere in the offseason and designing an offense solely centered around Lamar Jackson. And in 2019, Lamar was about to silence all the doubters. After losing his first 2 games, he went on a generational run, winning 14 straight. He threw a league-high 36 passing touchdowns and rushed for 1,206 rushing yards, breaking Michael Vick's single-season record. Just as everyone doubted him, Lamar responded with the greatest sophomore season in history.
There's been a lot of doubt going on, me being a running back, receiver, stuff like that. That came when I got to the league, and I had a great group of guys, great organization with me.
At only 22 years old, he became the league's 2nd unanimous MVP, joining Tom Brady as the only other unanimous winner. But for the 2nd straight season, he choked when the lights shined brightest. In the divisional round against the Titans, despite accounting for over 500 yards of offense, Jackson turned the ball over 3 times and only put up 12 points. But heading into his 3rd season, Lamar rebounded once more. He returned to the playoffs, eager to do what he did best, prove doubters wrong. In the wild card round, Lamar won the first playoff game of his career. Better yet, he did it against the Titans. It was the ultimate full circle moment. Through 3 seasons, he won over 80% of his games, won a playoff game, and took home MVP honors. But there was still one skeleton left in his closet, winning a Super Bowl.
I've been shooting for that Super Bowl since 2018, and I really mean that. Once that day comes, I'll be satisfied.
Following his wildcard victory, he fell flat once more, only scoring 3 points against the Bills. Through 3 postseason appearances, he had yet to make it past the 2nd round. Sadly, the next 2 seasons proved to be even more difficult. In 2021, he suffered a season-ending ankle injury. Then in 2022, he started red hot, winning 8 of its first 12 games, only to suffer a PCL injury. Jackson had to watch from the sidelines, as the Ravens lost in the first round of the playoffs once more. In other words, the 2023 season was his chance to reinvent himself. He was now 4 years removed from his unanimous MVP season, and fans started to wonder if Lamar could stay healthy for a full season. But it wasn't just the fans. On March 27, 2023, he stated publicly on Twitter his intention to be traded, claiming the Ravens front office has not been interested in meeting my value during negotiations for a long-term contract. At every step of the way, he had his fair share of doubters.
He's a bust. He can't play quarterback. Jackson's a project. He's not even close.
In terms of you being the best quarterback in football, that answer is hell no, he is not.
I was not impressed with the way he passed the ball last year.
But through it all, the Ravens stayed loyal.
5-year extension. We are so thankful that this thing is done.
I'm with you. I appreciate that, man. But I'm with you. I agree.
And a month later, they decided to make him their quarterback of the future.
But for the next 5 years, there's a lot of flock going on. Let's go, baby.
He signed a 5-year contract worth $260 million and $185 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid player in NFL history. That said, Lamar didn't disappoint. He responded with his best season yet, throwing for a then career high in passing yards and completion percentage. Under his leadership, the Ravens went 13-3 in the regular season, including a Week 17 victory where Lamar threw 5 touchdowns and posted a perfect passer rating. For the second time in 5 years, he was named the league's MVP.
2023 AP Most Valuable Player is Lamar Jackson.
At the age of 27, he became the second youngest player to win multiple MVPs. Then in the postseason, Lamar seemed more poised than ever before. After beating the Texans, the Ravens clinched their first AFC Championship game since 2012. But then came the Kansas City Chiefs, abruptly ending the Ravens' magical season.
Heartbreak for the Ravens. They get so close.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate. The good as they've played, they just didn't play their best football game today.
This brings us to the 2024 season, the most impressive of Lamar Jackson's career.
Takes a team to win an MVP award, but I know who the MVP is. It's Lamar Jackson.
And against the Buccaneers in Week 7, Jackson made history. In one of the best games of the season, he threw 5 touchdown passes to secure the W.
Wide open and a touchdown. Hill. Justice Hill. Touchdown Ravens. Here's a home run shot for Bateman. Touchdown Ravens. Floated, wide open, touchdown. Here is Henry on the reception for the touchdown.
This single victory improved his record to 23-1 against NFL teams, the best by any quarterback against an opposing conference in NFL history. But Lamar wasn't done rewriting the record books. In Week 15 against the Giants, he delivered another jaw-dropping performance, throwing for over 250 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, and rushing for over 50 yards, all while completing nearly every pass, throwing only 4 incompletions the entire game. And then on Christmas Day, Lamar achieved his sweetest milestone yet. He became the first player in NFL history to surpass 4,000 passing yards and 900 rushing yards in a single season.
Jackson from the pocket, lofting for the end zone, caught, touchdown! And there's 4K passing yards for Lamar.
At this point, Lamar was inevitable. With record-setting performances week in and week out, he wasn't just pacing the league, he was changing the game. He also managed to set career bests in major statistical categories, including passing yards, touchdowns, and passer rating, proving that even Lamar Jackson can't put a limit on his potential. He was well on his way to becoming one of the greatest regular season quarterbacks we have ever seen. Unfortunately, the playoffs are a different story. And in 2024, Lamar has failed to make the Super Bowl, this time against Josh Allen's Bills in the divisional round.
We didn't do what we were supposed to do, protecting the ball. That's the number one priority. We didn't do it, especially me. I'm the leader. I got to protect the ball.
It leaves some to wonder if he will ever get over the hump. But even if Lamar's career were to end today, he will be forever remembered as a trailblazer. Since Lamar entered the league, we have seen many teams shift to dual-threat quarterbacks, such as Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, and Kyler Murray. It's become clear the day of the pocket passer is coming to an end, and the day of the dual-threat quarterback is the future. Before Lamar, players like Michael Vick and Cam Newton flashed moments of brilliance with their rushing ability, but they were rare exceptions. The league was still dominated by traditional pocket passers like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees. But now there's a new shift, and it's all because of Lamar's confidence in himself. Had he let the outside noise get to him, he wouldn't be a quarterback right now. He would be a receiver. And maybe, just maybe, that same confidence that carried him to the Heisman and 2 MVPs will be the same confidence that helps him finally win the big one. But until then, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.